In fact, let's just pull up this since I'm here. Can everybody see the schedule? Okay. So this is kind of what the schedule will look like. And as you can see, there's a lot of crossover. So on Friday, which I'll get to, which isn't on the schedule, that's the orientation. We decided to kind of skip around a little bit in this notebook that students will receive, and I'll go over that notebook in a second as well, just because of time and how we wanted material to flow. So on Monday, as you can see, we will be doing welcome and video introductions, and Mary will be leading that in a main room. And then what's going to happen is in Zoom, we're going to go to breakout rooms. We're actually going to practice these breakout rooms at the end of our training session today so that all of you will understand how to share your screen so that you can actually share resources with the students that will be in your room. So our first activity that we're actually going to be teaching on is strengths, interests, and values, and what's called Internet of Things. However, Internet of Things, we're also going to have the support of the Build coaches. So we're going to kind of team up there to explain IoT to our campers. And then anything in purple will be main breakout. So Kim will be teaching to all the girls Arduinos and circuitry basics, as well as the Arduino platform. And then we'll go back into breakouts where this will be Build coaches. And so where you see the red, that is where you are going to be responsible for helping prep students. So what I'd like to do is I did create 2 PowerPoint resources that I'd like to cover with you today. And since the first session will take place on Friday, I would like to first start with that first session. So before I go, it's a lot to cover. Are there any questions for me? Are you all kind of like, okay, I see where we're going on this? Okay, good. Okay, Caitlin.
Yeah, for the camp days, so when it's our time to be leading, do we need to stay on during the main group events as well, or do we just stay on when we need to be leading the other campers?
Yeah, I would stay on if capable the whole time because, and I'm going to go over this once we cover material, but it would be great for you to facilitate conversation. So social coaches, you might do check-in points, what we like to call in education formative assessments. So just to see where the students are at. You'll each have 4 girls in your rooms. And so occasionally you might just ask the students, is the pacing good? Does everybody understand what Kim, your social coach or Build coach, is explaining? Does anybody have questions? Or what did you think about this? And have them do what we like to call a little round table, go one student to the next student and just capture anything that they might be feeling and encourage collaboration. That's what we really want to see from the Build coaches throughout the week. Or sorry, the social coaches throughout the week. But the Build coaches will be supporting in that as well. Does that make sense? Okay.
Can I, this is Mary, can I just get a show of hands? How many people participated, if anybody, in the Qualcomm robotics or the coding when you were at UCSD? 1, 2. So 2 of you were able to see what they had going on. Okay. It's going to be a little bit different because the girls actually get to keep what they made. So that's kind of a little bit different than when you were doing it. Okay.
Yeah, and on one slide, I have some examples of what the kids will be building, and I can show you. This is one. I hosted one of these camps, so this was my hat. I don't know if you guys can see it. So I'm an avid tennis player, and so my clock, I used a continuous servo to rotate, and my tennis player moves, and then the trees and things is my science background. And so we'll go over this as we go. And so you can kind of get an idea of what we're going to be supporting and having the students build throughout the camp. So let me share my screen. I want to show you, did everybody receive the notebook, a PDF of the notebook?
I think they should have gotten a hard copy, I believe, but maybe not.
Yeah, this notebook, did the social coaches receive this? It says Wearable Tech Notebook Summer 2020.
Nod your head up and down if you got it. Yes, okay,
Yes.
cool.
Okay. So basically, we're just following this Qualcomm notebook for this camp. And what we've done, though, that I want to talk to you guys about is we've kind of rearranged some of the flow of it in the virtual setting. So we might have students going back and forth. So I'm going to explain real quick. We decided that on Friday and over the weekend, we are actually going to have the students conduct a Who Am I video. And I'll explain this in just a second with a PowerPoint. My strengths, interests, and values, we will lead as social coaches, but we'll be doing this on Monday. And then the Qualcomm Fun Facts and the Qualcomm World of Work. This we are both going to do during our Friday orientation. And so you as social coaches will help me teach students about Qualcomm. And Vanessa's on the phone with us today. So when we cover this, if you have any questions, feel free to shout them out because myself and Vanessa can help address any questions you might have on that part of the orientation on Friday.
And maybe even Jasmine and who else was the other one that participated in that? Was it Anjali? No. Somebody else. Maybe they'll remember the answers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. If they had it, I know the build was different, but they would have had the general information.
Right.
Yeah. Career talks, we aren't going to be really a part of that. This is going to be done through a section called the Inspiration Hour, which when you look at the schedule, you'll see the Inspiration Hour is scheduled between 12 and 1 every day. And then Internet of Things, we will be covering on Monday. But we're going to have the support of the build coaches here. So it's going to be you and the build coaches supporting one another during that. And then basically all of this, the hardware kits, the Arduino, all of the electrical components and technical components are going to be built until we get to the automated hat project. And here, again, we're going to have some crossover, meaning you're going to help support the build coaches in relating what we call SIVs, strength, interests, and values, which we have the students explore on Monday. So that's going to be a big part of their hat project. So we're going to have you help support the students in discovering how they want to express their strength, interests, and values in their hat build. So any questions so far on kind of what your roles and responsibilities will look like? Okay, so let's talk about Friday. And I'm sorry I have to go, to stop share and share. It's just the way of Zoom. So what I did was I sent each of you this PowerPoint. And this PowerPoint is all set up to guide you on Friday. So what's going to happen is Mary is going to greet the students, give a general camp overview, and then we're going to go into breakout rooms. And so you will be responsible as the social coach to pull this PowerPoint up. So you're going to have to make sure that you downloaded the PowerPoint to your computer and that you have access to pull it up during your breakout room. And so really, you just have to go through it. On the PowerPoint, there are notes. So I included notes at the bottom of each slide to help support you so you know what to say. for most of the slides. So once you get into a breakout, the first slide is this, and you're just going to explain to the girls what the camp is going to be kind of about. So the campers are going to learn about the Qualcomm Corporation. They're going to learn about engineering and STEM careers. They'll learn circuitry basics, coding language, all about the engineering design process, and they will learn how to create and invent. And so that is the gist of the camp. And you just have to cover this fairly quickly with the students, just like I did. It's all in bullet points there. So when you're speaking to the girls in your room, you have kind of your notes right in front of you. So, so there's no need to get nervous. The next slide, what is intended with this slide is to let all the campers know that basically every camper was assigned a team STEMinist. And so what we would like you to do is say, for example, my team is Hannah Herbst. So I will tell my team, so all the campers, so we have 40 campers, we have an AM session and a PM session, and every camper is assigned a team STEMinist. And our STEMinist is Hannah Herbst, and I want to encourage you to research her and to find something that you aspire to be, or something you admire in her as a leading STEMinist. And so go over this with your team and encourage them over the weekend and throughout the week to research their team STEMinist. So any questions on that? Okay. So the next slide, we are going to review the camp icons. And so I'll show you the camp icons. You should have received these. And so we're just going to tell the students that we really want to encourage them to use these icons throughout the camp. In Zoom is kind of limited with the icons. They basically have the thumbs up or the applaud. And so we decided to use these. If any girls in your breakout rooms have a question, encourage them to hold up the question icon. Or if they want to share an answer, or they have an idea, or they want to answer a question that another girl has posed, encourage them to use the light bulb icon. Or if they just loved something that another camper expressed, or a camper shared their project idea, or a design idea, and you just loved it, encourage them to support each other and hold up their heart symbol. And so we want to use this throughout the week, not just in the main rooms, but also in the breakout room, to kind of encourage that collaboration. So any questions on the icons? And we'll be going over these on Monday too as a review. All right, and then next with our campers, we are going to let them know that we celebrate failure. Learning tech and learning new things can be difficult. And so we want the campers to know that epic fails are valuable teaching moments, okay? That everybody experiences failures when they're learning things for the first time, and that is okay. When students fail and are given strategies and opportunities to recover from failure, this is when we gain resilience and persistence, which is so important. And so we really want to encourage the girls that even though some of the circuitry might be difficult, even though maybe during their project design their coding isn't just right, that is okay, that we are going to celebrate failures. And at the beginning of certain sessions on, I believe, like Tuesday and Wednesday, we might open up in the main room and say, hey, someone share an epic fail. What happened? And even us as coaches, we can share where we've had epic fails or something didn't work quite right and we had to work through that. So we want to let our campers know that this is good. It's just the learning process, and it's all right.
And I mean, I want to emphasize how important this aspect of it is, because most people who are in engineering today will attest to the fact that we had to try many, many things before we found success in some of our problem solving. So failure it doesn't always feel good, but it's really good for building resilience and for building that ability to step back into the fight and say, all right, I have to approach this a different way. We have to do this differently.
Yeah, there's that famous Thomas Jefferson quote, you know, where he said, I have not failed. I just found 10,000 ways that did not work. And so that is, you know, the epitome of what we're trying to get students to have. It's that growth mindset is what we call it in education, you know, where don't let failure set you back or you know, lower your self-esteem, but use it as an opportunity to grow.
And I think just to share something else, you know, during the course of the week, we are all going to share a lot more about ourselves, and we're all going to see a whole lot more about the group of people that we're working with here and then the group of girls that we're working with. So to me, this is an opportunity for us to learn from each other too about how to approach what's a good a way to approach problem solving that maybe you didn't think of before. So everybody should walk away from, I will say this about virtuality and being in a virtual world. I have had so many more opportunities to learn how to do something that I did not know how to do before. And so that to me is really the epitome of growth mindset. It's finding a way to pick the nuggets out of what you just experienced and say, how do we apply this in a positive way?
Yeah. Yeah.
Failure's not a bad thing. Don't think of failure. And please, please do not belittle yourself when you fail. You fail, you go, oh, I guess I screwed up. Let's move on and move on to the next one. Don't say, oh, I'm so sorry I failed, or I'm so sorry that I did that. Apologize, but one of the things that women spend way too much time doing is saying, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
So please do not.